Hello viewers, welcome to my channel IITJ Olympiads and AP Physics with Ambarish. And today I have brought a special problem on polarization. Some of the students had requested me to make a video related to polarization, and this is a very different problem, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the solution to this one. So let me read out this very non-conventional kind of problem in polarization. So what's the problem? By the way, I've picked up this problem from Optics by Pedrotti. So here's the problem. Since a sheet of polaroid is not an ideal polarizer, not all the energy of electric field vibrations parallel to the transmission axis are transmitted, nor all the electric field vibrations perpendicular to the transmission axis are absorbed. So in the conventional polarizer and analyzer, what happens? Whatever energy is along the transmission axis, we assume that all of that energy is transmitted, and whatever energy is perpendicular to the transmission axis, we assume that all of that energy is absorbed. But here that's not the case. What's given is, in the next line, if you see, suppose an energy fraction alpha is transmitted in the first case, that is, along the transmission axis alpha fraction is transmitted. The energy associated with transmission axis, only alpha fraction of that is transmitted. And similarly, at a fraction beta is transmitted in the second case. So what's meant by second case? So along this axis, the axis perpendicular to the transmission axis, a fraction beta is transmitted. So here the beta fraction is transmitted, energy associated with this polarization, and with this polarization alpha fraction is transmitted. Okay, so it's not a perfect absorber or perfect transmitter in the two directions. Okay, so now what do we have to find out? See, so we have to extend the Malus law by calculating the irradiance transmitted by a pair of such polarizers with an angle theta between their transmission axes. Okay, so normally what happens according to Malus law, if you have an intensity I naught over here, you have studied from your NCRT that here the intensity becomes I naught by 2 and here intensity becomes I naught by 2 cos square theta. But that's the case when we have standard polarizers. But here we have to find out, suppose intensity is I naught here. So what is the intensity over here? We have to find out, assuming here transmission fraction is alpha and in this direction transmission fraction is beta. And not just with the first one, the second polarizer also has got the same characteristics. That is, in this direction it transmits an alpha fraction and in this direction it transmits a beta fraction. So what is the final intensity? That's what we have to find out. Okay, and then whatever expression we find out, we also have to show that in the ideal case, that is when you put alpha equal to 1 and beta equal to 0, in that case we have to show that our expression reduces to the Malus law. Okay, so if you want, you can pause this video and try out this challenge for some time. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun doing this one, and then you can have a look at my solution. Okay, I'll get into my solution right away. So here's the solution. See, okay, for sake of convenience I have marked the axis by, for the first polarizing disk I have marked the axis by small x and small y, and for the second disk I have marked these axes with capital X and capital Y. Okay, and this is the transmission axis. Let's say alpha is the fraction associated with this. Here also with capital Y also alpha is the transmitted fraction of energy, and with this axis it is beta, and with small x axis also it is beta. Okay, and for sake of convenience I have shown the eclipse view also. So here is the eclipse view of the two polarizers. So x and y axis are like this, and capital X and capital Y axis are like this. So angle between small y and capital Y is theta. In the eclipse you can see, so this angle, these two lines will have an angle theta between them. So in the eclipse configuration you can easily see, and then angle between small x and capital Y is 90 minus theta. Okay, so accordingly we'll see how we'll utilize this. And similarly the angle between capital X and small x is again going to be theta. Why? This is theta, so this is 90 minus theta, and this is again theta. So we can use this diagram for our convenience. Okay, so we'll see how to use this. Okay, so now let I naught be the intensity of the unpolarized light. So here we are having unpolarized light coming here, and let us say this intensity is I naught. Okay, so let I naught be the intensity of unpolarized light. First, let us consider the polarization from the first polarizer film. So we are considering the polarization from this one. So what will happen? So if I naught is coming here, had it been a normal polarizer, this would have been along this I naught by 2. But since it is transmitting only an alpha fraction, so the energy going along this will be simply I naught by 2 into alpha, right? So this energy is I naught by 2 into alpha. Similarly, this energy would have been 0 had it been an ideal polarizer, but since it has a transmissivity of beta, so energy going along this direction will be what? That will be again I naught by 2 into beta. Okay, so that's what I've written. See, so energy associated with the x-axis is beta I naught by 2, and energy associated with the small y-axis is alpha I naught by 2. So I hope this is clear from the figure. Okay, okay, let me copy that figure once again so that I don't have to keep on moving up and down. So let me just copy this one. Okay, copy, and I'll just paste it somewhere here. Okay, so let me paste this figure here. Okay, small size, let me make it. So I hope this is clear. Okay, so from this one we are getting okay, from here we are getting I naught by 2 into beta, and from here we are getting I naught by 2 into alpha. So that's what I have written. Okay, now we shall use superposition to find the final intensities. So these intensities, they are being further processed by the second polarizer, or you can say analyzer. Okay, so we'll use superposition to find the final intensities I capital X and I capital Y due to transmission of I small x and I small y through the analyzer. Okay, so I capital Y small y is the energy that is transmitted from I small y through capital Y. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let me again paste the figure over here. So let's paste the figure again. Okay, so I'll just make a small figure over here. See, so what was Iy? So Iy is this intensity, which was alpha I naught by 2, and when this gets transmitted through capital Y, you see this angle is theta. So had it been the normal Malus law, it would have been simply Iy into cos square theta, but then this also has a transmissivity of alpha, so you need to multiply an alpha again. So that's what, so I capital Y small y is Iy into cos square theta into alpha. Okay, and if you substitute for Iy from above, you will get alpha square I naught by 2 cos square theta. So this is what is transmitted through capital Y because of the one coming through small y that gets transmitted through capital Y. But then one coming through small x also has some fraction getting transmitted through capital Y. Okay, how much is that? So I capital Y small x, that will be equal to what? So now Ix makes an angle 90 minus theta with this x with capital Y. So there will be a sin square theta. So had there been no transmissivity involved with y direction, capital Y direction, this would have been Ix into sin square theta, but then the transmissivity is alpha, so I multiply it by transmissivity. And what do I get? I substitute Ix from above. See, here we had found Ix, that was beta I naught by 2. So that if you put beta I naught by 2 and then you multiply by alpha and sin square theta. So this is I capital Y small x. Now if I want to find out how much is the total energy going in capital Y direction, I can simply add these two, that will be doing later on. Okay, similarly I can find out I capital X due to small y. So again, now in the capital X direction, if you see, this makes an angle again 90 minus theta. Okay, or you can say 90 plus theta or 90 minus theta, one and the same thing, because cos of 90 plus theta is going to be and you square that, that will become sin square theta, right? So I capital X due to small y, so that will be what? That will be equal to Iy into sin square theta and multiply it by transmissivity, that was beta. So Iy sin square theta into beta. And if you substitute for Iy from above, see Iy alpha I naught by 2, you put it here. So alpha I naught by 2, and then there's a beta and sin square theta. So that's what you get for I capital X y, right? Similarly, I capital X small x. So this is capital X, this is small x, and again this angle is theta. So you have a factor of cos square theta, and since transmissivity is beta in this direction, so you have a beta. So that's what you get, right? Beta square I naught by 2 cos square theta. So now we can find out total intensities from the capital Y direction and total intensity from the capital X direction, how much energy is coming. So from the capital Y direction, energy transmitted is I capital Y X plus I capital Y small y, right? And this is just a matter of substitution. This is what you get. Okay, so added these two things, alpha square I naught by 2 cos square theta plus alpha beta I naught by 2 sin square theta. So that's what I've written, alpha square I naught by 2 cos square theta plus alpha beta I naught by 2 sin square theta. Similarly, I found I capital X small x. So that is this expression. Okay, so addition of these two things. Okay, 5 and 6 I've added, and that's what I've got. Okay, now what is the net intensity? So now you see some energy is coming from capital X, some energy is coming from capital X. So what is the total energy coming? You should simply add them up. So net intensity is simply I capital X plus I capital Y, which comes out to be this expression. Okay, I naught by 2, just add 7 and 8. So I naught by 2 alpha square plus beta square cos square theta. Here we have alpha square cos square theta, beta square cos square theta. So alpha square plus beta square cos square theta, and plus 2 alpha beta I naught by 2 sin square theta. There should, yeah, so I naught by 2 I have taken as common outside, so I have not written I naught by 2 inside, and this is our final answer for the intensity. Okay, and we can readily see, had it been the usual setup, then alpha would be 1 and beta would be 0. So put alpha equal to 1 here and beta equal to 0 here and here. So you are just left with I is equal to I naught by 2 cos square theta, which reduces to the standard case. So we have verified that it reduces to the standard Malus law. Okay, now there is also a wrong way of approaching this problem. Sometimes what students do, instead of just thinking in terms of energies, they start resolving the electric field vector. So they just take E small x, E small y, and then they see what is transmitted electric field E capital X, E capital Y, and then they try to use the fact that intensity is the square of the net electric field. But there they commit a fallacy. What is that? See, these two electric fields, if the light is unpolarized, so E small x and E small y, they are not coherent, right? Otherwise, if there were a constant phase difference between Ex and Ey, it will not be an unpolarized light. In that case, it would have been elliptically polarized light. Maybe I can do a video on that later on. However, know for sure that unpolarized light means there's no correlation, absolutely no correlation between X component of field and Y component of field. The phase difference is random. Okay, so if you are going to use the electric field approach, please bear in mind that in unpolarized light, E small x and E small y are non-coherent, and accordingly, if you take the components E capital X small x, that is the component of electric field that's coming from small x and that get transmitted to capital X, and then if you add them vectorially and take the square and you take the time average, this is simply going to be Exx square plus Exy square, and there will be no term 2EE, 2Exx, Exy, that term will not be there. Why? Because its time average value will be 0 because of non-coherence. Okay, so you can do it using the electric field approach also, but I personally found the energy approach to be easier, and there's less chance of making a silly mistake in this one. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this concept was sort of a novel thing for you. And if you did enjoy my video, please do give it a thumbs up, and please share this video with as many friends as possible, maybe through various WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups or Discord servers. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. That's the main motivation. I daily keep looking at how many people have subscribed, so that's the major motivation for doing new videos, and help me reach out to more and more students who can benefit from my channel and the kind of work that I do. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and see you in the next one. God bless you all.